Coming up, we'll be rediscovering the beauty of the old town, stopping for lunch at the Hotel Avenida and taking a trip down memory lane. Michelle Baker here, creator of these Benidormforever videos, so you can keep in touch with your favourite resort week by week. And it has been a scorcher this week in Benidorm, but what can we expect? It is August after all. We've had a scorching hot heat wave this week and temperatures tipped into the early 40s, which doesn't make for a good look when you're filming for a Spanish TV programme to be aired later in the year. Comando Actualidad is a documentary series that takes the viewer to different parts of Spain every week. Then locals show them around. And it was my task to show them the British side of Benidorm on a Saturday night. And for once, I didn't mind there were less people than normal. As you can see, everyone was on their best behaviour, just enjoying the footy and a much needed pint to keep them cool. But as they say, after the heat often comes a storm. Well, okay, a storm is a bit of an exaggeration, but the rain definitely did not stay on the plane this week, and thankfully the temperatures have dropped back into the early 30s, which is about where they should be for August. But with most of the British tourists now repatriated back to the UK because of the quarantine ruling, we thought it'd be nice to head over to the old town to soak up the Spanish atmosphere. The Spanish love Benidorm. They flock here at any opportunity from other parts of Spain, but especially in August when the whole country traditionally goes on holiday. Consequently, we've really seen this side of town filling up this week. Just look how busy the beach is, but not too busy. Everyone is safe in their individual pitches, respecting the rules of social distancing and the new normal. In fact, we do get lots of comments about this from people who have been here recently. They all say the same thing. They feel so safe here. The town hall kindly allowed us up to this viewing deck to take these great aerial shots. This building right at the end of the Levante beach used to be the town hall. The second town hall, that is. The first one is now a museum right in the middle of the old town, but we'll talk about that another time. And the top floor of this building these days, with its vantage lookout point, is used to host tourism meetings and to impress visitors. The current town hall is this spectacular building a little further back from the beach, right in the centre of the resort. Located at the end of the Avenida Mediterráneo, it was completed in 2003, and aside from being a stunning building, there's two things which I know you'll find interesting about this. The first one is the name of the 70 or so thousand people on the town census when it was built are etched into the glass of the louver windows of the facade. And the second interesting fact is the structure is built on legs, for want of a better word, to elevate the building, because it is built on what we call a barranco. Now, a barranco is where the water flows. This is the natural water outlet, and when it rains, this is like a river. This is the path the water flows along on its journey to the sea. So, by elevating the town hall, they were able to make use of this precious land, but they don't end up flooding the building every time it rains. This also explains why there has been so much building work over the last 2 years in this area. All of the pipework has been replaced in an attempt to redirect the rainwater before it hits and destroys our precious beach every time it rains, but also to capture the rainwater and use it for irrigation, for example. And for those regular visitors who are probably wondering if the building work is completed yet, the answer is yes. At least here in the centre, it was finished in double quick time around the clock when the King came to visit a few weeks ago. And as you can see, it looks lovely. It's just a shame that right now there aren't more people here to enjoy it. Or maybe it's a blessing. You see, part of the work carried out was to remodel the emblematic Avenida Mediterráneo and restore it to its former glory as the grand avenue it was in its heyday, but with a millennium nod towards making it more pedestrian only. Consequently, the previous 6-lane dual carriageway has been reduced to just a single lane in one direction, with an adjacent cycle lane. and this is expected to cater for cars, motorbikes, buses, taxis, delivery trucks, and let's not forget mobility scooters. Now, call me a pessimist, but I don't think it's practical or realistic and will lead to some heavy traffic jams when Benidorm gets going again. But for now, with only a few tourists in resort, it looks lovely. And now for a spot of lunch, we're heading into the Hotel Avenida in the heart of the old town and close to the beach. Plus my friend works here, so it's nice to have a catch up. One of the changes I love about this whole situation are the changes in the hotel dining rooms. Hand sanitizer is obligatory, of course, and most of the food is now served in individual portions, so you don't have to share serving spoons with all of the other guests. And in the case of the Avenida, they've invested in this large show cooking counter where all the hot food is now served to you, not by you, and many choices like fish and meat or omelettes are cooked to order. And now for another history bit. The Avenida was one of the earliest hotels built, and at that time it was right on the edge of the resort, on the busy street that brought traffic in from the main road and straight down to the beach. You see, the road we refer to as the walking street in the old town was in fact the coast road that ran straight through the resort, complete with a petrol station. But in the 70s they built a ring road to direct most of the traffic out of town. This area was always referred to as La Cruz, the cross, because there was a big statue of a cross where all the youngsters used to meet up at night. But like any town, the kids were generally noisy and considered a nuisance, so in their wisdom the town hall changed the location of La Cruz, the cross, to out of town, some 100 metres away, assuming this would also move the youths. But as we all know, even though this was a Catholic country, it wasn't the cross that attracted them, it was merely a place to meet. And they still met in the same place night after night, and over time the area adopted its new name of La Palmera, the palm tree, because that's what the town hall put in place of the cross when they moved it. And the statue of the cross still remains today, 100 metres up the road, unnoticed. This is still the busiest crossroads in the entire city, but now it's only busy with pedestrians. You need a special permit to drive in this area, and the rates on these shops and bars are the most expensive in Benidorm. Back in the day, this was the edge of the town. Beyond here was just land, and it was considered worthless because it flooded with salt water, making it impossible to grow crops. Fast forward a few decades, and today these streets house the most expensive properties in the whole of Benidorm. From around the 50s, Spanish tourists flocked here in the summer and hotels started to spring up to cater for them. One of the first hotels was the Bilbaíno, which is still open today, although the building isn't the original one. But this year it's not quite as busy, which makes it all the more enjoyable for us locals. Because from the 50s, Benidorm changed so quickly from a fishing village to a tourist hotspot. And as a dictatorship, it was difficult to keep up. In fact, I'm going to share with you a good example of this. It was here one morning in the late 1950s when my father-in-law was enjoying a coffee with the chief of police, an officer called Cosme, when the meeting came to an abrupt halt by the chief of police standing up suddenly and announcing they had to go. And the reason? A foraster, a foreigner, had walked into the bar wearing a shirt over a pair of swimming trunks, and since exposing so much skin under Franco's regime in a Catholic country was inappropriate, and the police chief would be forced to reprimand the individual, he said he'd rather turn a blind eye and depart as quickly as possible. You see, whether the locals agreed or not with the rules, they were already recognising the benefits of tourism in the resort. So it was in no one's interest to upset the tourists. Next week we'll bring you up to date with any changes in Benidorm, and we will be reporting from the Palace, the Benidorm Palace, that is reopening this weekend. We hope you enjoyed this week's video. Feel free to comment, we answer everyone personally, and please share our videos with anyone you know that likes Benidorm. We want everyone to remember Benidorm forever until the time is right for you to return. Thank you.